Now, imagine this. You are driving along Jalan Duta late at night alone, you are just tired from work and you just want to get back home. On your left, you see this building, abandoned, windows broken, just overgrown with trees and vines. The kind of place that just feels creepy. But here's the thing, that building used to be one of the most luxurious resorts in Kuala Lumpur. It had penguins by its pool. Yeah, and now it is one of the most haunted abandoned sites in the country. Real deaths, a horror film shoot gone terribly wrong, and a car park that people still talk about today. This is the story of Duta Vista. But before we get into all of that, hey you guys, welcome to the GMC channel. I am Esther Vincent, also known as Leah Mia on social media. In my channel here, I talk about the ghost, the mystery, the crime. If all this is up your alley, please subscribe to the channel. Today, I hope you guys stick around till the end. If you do, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, maybe a comment, share the video with others, help the channel grow further. For that, I would have to say thank you. And without further ado, let's get into today's story. So, to understand what Duta Vista became, you need to first understand what it was. Back in 1991, this place opened up in Bukit Tungku, a pretty prime location in Kuala Lumpur, nestled near to Jalan Duta, easy access to the city, and pretty close to the KLCC. Petronas Twin Towers. If you drive the Duke or the North-South Expressway, you would have most probably seen it without even knowing what you're looking at. And that is true because I've seen it multiple times. I've even asked my husband, like, what is this building's about? Like, why is it abandoned? And he was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, because even I don't know. So it wasn't just some regular abandoned apartment block. It was Duta Vista. Duta Vista was a luxury executive suite resort, 65 suites altogether, offering both short-term and long-term stays. Think 90s posh, like tennis court, fancy pools, and the whole deal. And here's the thing that people always remember about it. Just like how I mentioned in the beginning, they had real penguins living by the pool area. Yeah, real penguins. Guests, especially families, they loved it. You take your kids down to the pool and you'll see penguins waddling around the area. Penguins, they are not a common animal in Malaysia, right? Because our weather, it's always hot and humid. Even during the rainy seasons, the temperatures, they don't go down as much. So I don't know how these penguins living state was back at that time, because I know penguins, they are not only from cold locations, cold places. I've seen them in documentaries and whatnot. They do thrive in sunny places as well. But Malaysia is completely different. It never gets as cold as those cold places. So I don't know whether the penguins did well or not, but it was quirky, charming, and honestly magical, I guess. Former residents still bring up these penguin stories when they talk about Vita Vista. It's like a fond memory that they hold up to. I think when I think about it, back in the days, we did not have penguin anywhere, not even in like the underwater worlds or any bird parks, anywhere. No. Now, yes, think we do have penguins in like certain places where they create an enclosure for them. The temperature is really low and they live there. But back in the days, they were none. So I guess seeing them was a big deal. For a while, it was genuinely a beloved place. People built lives there. Families stayed there for months and even years. It had this warm resort community kind of feel to it, but somewhere along the way, things started to go wrong. The decline of Duta Vista wasn't overnight. It slowly crept in. At first, the maintenance started slipping, followed by electrical faults, then water shortage, the kind of problem that is annoying at first, but then it becomes so often, it becomes a pattern that you just cannot ignore. That's when the reviews started to go bad. The resort that people once gushed about is now being complained about online. And then the other things started to happen. Guests and staff began whispering about experiences they couldn't quite explain. Hearing footsteps in empty hallways, hearing laughter and talking coming from rooms that were vacant. One guest even wrote on TripAdvisor about a family member who had this overwhelming feeling of being watched when there was absolutely no one else in the room with them. Now, look, every old building in Malaysia has its own ghost story, right? Like it just comes with the territory. But when the paranormal reputation started stacking on top of the failing maintenance, guests just stopped coming back. And the ones who did actually come back or just come for a visit, they all came for the wrong reasons. By the time Duta Vista finally shut its doors for good in 2017, it had already been a shell of itself for years. But but the stories, though, they were just getting started. Okay, so this part, I want you to really listen. Among all the stories that is floating around about Duta Vista, I found myself coming back to the same kind of stories in different platforms told by different people. People who claim to have visited and explored the abandoned site. So I decided I am going to bring you the first version that I actually saw of this story for your entertainment. So this was quite a few years after Duta Vista was completely abandoned. A group of explorers, you know, the type that go to abandoned places, creepy looking places, and they explore the area. Yeah, that kind of people. They decided to go to Duta Vista one night in the middle of the night, having torches and cameras with them. They came to Duta Vista and they decided to go up to one of the higher floors in the buildings. And everything was exactly how you'd expect an abandoned building to look like. Peeling wallpaper, broken furniture, papers scattered everywhere, which looked like whoever that left just woke up one day and walked out mid sentence. At some point, they stopped in front of a room. The door of that room was slightly ajar, so one of them pushed the door and it opened up with a loud creak. Inside, the room looked pretty much intact, like one of those one-star hotel rooms or motel rooms. It looked like as if though it has been cleaned and room service was happening just for that room when it's compared with the rest of the building and the rest of the rooms. Inside of the room, on the floor, there was a child's shoe, just a single shoe sitting in the middle of the room with a plastic chair knocked on top of it. Nothing immediately alarming, right? So this group of people, they were not scared yet, so they took a few steps into the room. But one of them saw a mirror on the wall, so he walked towards it. He flashed his flashlight on it. That's when he saw it. Just for a second, a pitch black dark figure standing at the doorway of that room holding a child. He spun around immediately, but nothing. The doorway was empty. That was it. He started to shiver, he couldn't even walk, and they didn't stay there much longer. They left. When they got back to their car, they started watching back the footage that they had taken inside Duta Vista. Their camera had been doing perfectly all right until they got outside of that particular room. When they were outside of the room, it started getting slightly staticky. When they opened up the room, the video became completely static, but it was still recording. They could hear everything that was going on, just no video. It recorded a few more seconds until when they got inside of the room and that one particular guy saw whatever that was standing at the doorway. From then on, boom, the video, the audio, everything cut off completely. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all of this had definitely happened exactly like this because, like I mentioned earlier, there's multiple different versions of these kind of stories. But I will say that Duta Vista has this kind of energy that people have been talking about again and again from back in the days. This feeling that the building is still occupied, but not by the living. Now, after this is where it gets really dark because the paranormal rumors, as creepy as they are not even the most unsettling things to have happened in Duta Vista. There are two real tragedies connected to this place, and both of them are heartbreaking in different ways. Let's start with the first tragedy. It was August 24th, 2006, the year before Malaysians would pack the cinema to watch one of the biggest local horror film called Jangan Pandang Belakang, which simply translates to Don't Look Behind. Around 5:20 a.m., the weird early dawn hour where everything just feels a little unreal, the Jangan Pandang Belakang movie crew was at Duta Vista shooting one of their last final scenes. And in this scene, the main character would have to be running away, scared and fleeing away from a supernatural being. The stunt double that night was Nazari Omar, 40 years old, and he had been in the film industry for 20 years. He was well experienced. The scene was simple enough. He has to run on the third floor balcony, jump out of it, and fall to the crash mats that has been set below. He ran, he jumped, and he missed. Just slightly, just enough. He fell slightly outside of those crash mats, and the whole crew saw that happening right in front of their eyes. He was immediately rushed to Hospital Kuala Lumpur, but unfortunately, he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Director Ahmad Idham called it the most devastating moment in his entire career. Once everything was settled, the production had to start back again. The shooting started back again, but nobody was the same after that. Here's the part that gets me. When the crew reviewed the footage later on, once everything was settled and the production started back again, when they reviewed back the footage, they saw something. A figure, an unidentified figure that has no business being there, was caught in that final footage. What could that be? That image ended up as their teaser poster for the film. A man died on camera fleeing something supernatural, but that camera might have just caught what he was actually running from. The second tragedy. October 25th, 2015, a Sunday evening around 8 p.m. The Eurasian Association was holding a reunion at Duta Vista that night. The kind of warm, friendly gathering that's supposed to end with warm hugs and a safe drive back home. Paul William Nunes had driven there to pick up his wife Mary, who had attended that gathering. Both of them were 71 years old and they have been married for about 45 years. Their son described them as inseparable. They were leaving. Paul was driving through the fifth floor of the car park when he lost control. The Perodua Canary broke through the barrier and fell 5 floors down onto a fence below, impaled by a pole. Like, what? Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Their son, Glenn, said something that stuck with me. His parents were inseparable in life, and finally, they were inseparable in death too. I don't know whether that is comforting or heartbreaking. Maybe both. Today, Duta Vista just sits there. Those crumbling buildings in Bukit Tungku that does not look like it belonged in 2026. Urban explorers who have gone through it found floppy disks, papers, and documents scattered about, hotel cutleries still in boxes, and posters still mounted on the wall. One afternoon, everyone just woke up and decided we're gonna leave and left. For now, it stands abandoned, watching the highway. So, yep, that's Duta Vista, a luxury resort that had penguins once upon a time, a horror film shoot that went tragically wrong, and two deaths that nobody who was there that night will ever be able to forget. If you have driven past it, saw the buildings, and wondered what it was for anyways, well, now you know. If you enjoyed this, a like really does help a small channel like mine to reach more people. If you have the time, please leave a comment. I would love to read them. If you have time to spare also, click on my other videos that will be popping up in a bit. If no, I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, stay safe out there, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.